Hey folks, and welcome to CarStars' 10 Wild Facts about Val and Earl's 63 Jeep Gladiator in the 1990 film Tremors. Fact number 1. There was a single 1963 Jeep Gladiator thrift-side J200 used in the film. Filmmakers just wanted a distinctive old four-wheel drive truck that looked like it belonged in a dusty, isolated town. When they stumbled upon the 63 Gladiator, its distinctive squared nose and utilitarian appeal sold them immediately. One of the film's creators even joked the grille made it look like an old boiler with headlights, which captured the offbeat blue-collar tone they wanted for Perfection Valley. Practicality drove the choice as much as the rustic style. The Gladiator they obtained for the shoot was already a working truck with plenty of real years on it, so it matched Val and Earl's odd jobs working life without having to dress it up to make it look like it. It was also a straightforward vehicle to keep running in remote locations. The production team's own recollections simply say the transportation department found it, although they don't specify whether it was bought or rented. The budget and filming schedule demanded a truck they could get cheaply and quickly. The Jeep was available in time and in usable condition, so they committed. Fortunately for them, they didn't have any major incidents with the truck during production, as they didn't realize how rare this specific configuration of the 63 Gladiator actually was at the time. Fact number 2. The truck was powered by the Kaiser Jeep Tornado 230 inline 6 with a single overhead cam, unusual for an American pickup of the time. The engine put out a factory-rated 140 gross horsepower with 210 pound-feet of torque. The long-stroke layout and cross-flow head favored low-end grunt over revs, which suited slow climbs and sandy washouts. Simple carburetors and points ignition kept it rugged and easy to service. The truck was optioned with the 4-on-the-floor manual transmission. The heavy-duty truck gearbox offered an early J-Series and paired with a Dana Spicer model, 2-speed part-time transfer case that we see get used once in the film at least. So, it had ultra-low gear when you needed to crawl and of course the high gears when you hit the freeway. Fact number 3. First introduced in 1962, Jeep launched the Gladiator as the pickup sibling to the new Wagoneer, sharing the sturdy SJ platform, but wearing its own rugged work-ready sheet metal. It stood out for the era with the torquey Tornado 230, stout frames, tough axles, and honest utility. Early brochures flirted with an independent front suspension option, but buyers favored simple, tougher hardware, so the IFS option idea was sidelined. The lineup broadened into J200 and J300 series with multiple wheelbases, thrift-side step-side or town-side fleet-side beds, and heavy-duty springs and axles for hefty payloads. Powertrains evolved fast. The OHC 230 gave way to AMC straight 6s and V8s and later automatics. After AMC took over in 1970, the Gladiator name itself was dissolved, but essentially the same truck lived on as the Jeep Truck J10 and J20 models through the 70s and 80s until the model's final year in '88 when Chrysler took over and discontinued the line. The Gladiator namesake eventually made a bold return in the modern era for the Wrangler-based Gladiator pickup truck, introduced for the 2020 model year. It brings back the open-air personality with removable doors and roof, yet still best towing in its class, and familiar solid axle toughness. Trims like Rubicon and Mojave push capability in different directions, but the goal is the same as 1963, practical toughness paired with go-anywhere capability. Fact number 4. As for any modifications made to the truck for its role in the film, they were minimal, but there were some. The crew fitted a 3 to 4 inch suspension lift and some meaty Mickey Thompson Baja belted tires so it would track cleanly over rocks and sand. That small bump in ride height, combined with the chunky tread, gave the truck the right stance and character on camera while still looking like something two handymen could realistically afford. It embraced its character with simple V&E Odd Jobs hand-painted lettering on the doors, fuzzy dice hung in the cab, and the bed carried jerry cans, a homemade substitute tailgate, a fire extinguisher, and scattered tools helped sell the idea of a working rig kept alive with scrap and elbow grease, the kind of makeshift ingenuity you'd expect in a remote, cash-tight desert town. The original weathered paint did as much storytelling as anything else. The unkept sun fading, surface rust spots, and many other subtle imperfections were left as they were, letting the patina endure under harsh sun and dusty wind. Nothing shiny, nothing precious, just a pickup that looked like it had earned every scar it wore. With the minor upgrades and honest wear, the Gladiator felt authentic in motion and in close-ups, matching the film's gritty blue-collar tone. Fact number 5. Most folks assume that in the sequel film, Tremors 2, Aftershocks, Earl's truck is just the same old repurposed pickup from the first film, but that's not the case actually. Since there were no plans for a sequel film at the time, none of the vehicles from the first film were kept by production. The second movie came along quite unexpectedly 6 years later, so they had to hunt down a few other 63 Gladiators, J300 models this time to be exact, and make them match the appearance of the original J200 truck well enough that audiences were none the wiser of the change. So what we see in the second film is continuity in style, but not the actual original truck returning. The second film's slightly different J300 trucks means subtle differences that don't line up perfectly between films. Bed details differ mainly due to the longer wheelbase, a switch from painted to chrome side mirrors and door handles, and of course the paint aging and surface rust spots were not identical to the original truck either. None of that really breaks the illusion on screen, but it does underline the reality behind it. The sequel honored the look, while the original J200 truck remained the one-off star of the first film. Fact number 6. So, I assume many of you have probably checked out the really cool deleted scene here of the Jeep taking on the old Jeep Trail that was mentioned a few times in the movie, but we never actually got to see in the final version of the film, and if you haven't, I suggest you check it out as it is included on most versions of the DVD and Blu-ray releases, and it is also here on YouTube if you don't have the disc versions. However, I bet most of you haven't seen the nearly 40 videos worth of the so-called lost tapes of home video type of behind-the-scenes footage of Tremors production that includes a bunch more footage of the Jeep, like when Kevin Bacon stalls out the truck on the first day of shooting the truck's first scene, and you get to see some other vehicles used in the movie, as well as some great info on other aspects of the film. If you haven't seen these yet, then be sure to go check out Stampede Entertainment's YouTube channel here called Real Deal Productions. I will put a link to it in the description below. Fact number 7. So, where is the original Tremors Jeep Gladiator truck today, you ask? Well, we don't know is the direct answer to that question, but what we do know is that the first film's Jeep wasn't tucked into a studio vault or museum. The creators have mentioned that the Jeep wasn't preserved, and it followed the usual picture car routine post-production, returned to the transportation department to be repurposed or resold like any other. It essentially slipped back into the stream of used rigs once the camera stopped rolling as far as we know. Beyond that, there's no verified rediscovery of it anywhere as of today. No studio collection tag, no official event appearance, no creator note pointing to a display, and there isn't a credible auction listing or registry entry that ties a specific VIN to the movie truck. If it showed up elsewhere, nobody with primary sources has put their hands on it or made it public if they have. If anyone watching knows where the original film's truck ended up or happens to own it yourself, do let us know in the comments section below. Fact number 8. As for fan replicas, although I wasn't able to find any fully completed tribute or inspiration builds, I did find a couple work-in-progress projects, so there is a small fan scene for the Tremors Jeep at least. Builders seem to just hunt down first-generation J-Series trucks and aim for the same look, often starting with whatever they can find in usable shape. One such example project is this 1973 build being worked on by a member on the full-size Jeep Network forums. True thrift side beds are rare, so some projects adapt town side beds and shorten them to get the right proportions. Here's another work in progress Tremors truck, the owner says, except based on a 1980 Jeep truck, also a town side instead of a thrift side, but a cool project nonetheless. Fact number 9. Gamers who have been wanting a Tremors video game, or even to just drive a first-generation Jeep Gladiator in a video game at all, have probably noticed that there are no official Tremor games or even regular driving games that offer that, since most modern car games that do feature a Jeep Gladiator instead feature the current model Gladiator trucks only. However, fortunately there is one indie game out there that not only will let you drive a likeness of the Tremors Jeep Gladiator, but even let you drive it around Perfection Valley. That's right, there was one unofficial yet very cool fan-made Tremors open-world video game that was just released last year. Of course, being a small indie game, there will be some imperfections, the main one for us being the Jeep is a town side instead of a thrift side bed, but regardless, it is clear that a lot of work went into this game, so we can let a few small discrepancies like that slide. As you can see, the very dedicated creator of this game went all out on capturing the full world of the first Tremors film, including characters, vehicles, buildings, and even the graboids themselves. Not to mention, you can pick this game up for just $1, and I will include a link in the description below to where you can get it for those interested. Fact number 10. Looking into the scale model world, despite the fact that there are to date 7, yes 7, Tremors films spanning across 30 years, there are still no official scale model releases of any vehicles from the films, which seems pretty crazy to me. Regardless, there are some decent first-generation Jeep Gladiators / Jeep truck models available anyway, so let's take a look at our best options here. As for diecast models, about the only actual Jeep Gladiator model that has the correct front end style would be this 1/43rd scale model here from a brand called Salvat. Although it's a town side instead of a thrift side bed, it's really about the only model I could come across available with the correct Gladiator grille that's not the quite different J10 grille. These run about $100 or so on eBay. As for plastic model kits, really the only options on the current retail market are a couple Revell 1/25th scale 1979 honcho variant of the J10, so you would have to make a lot of custom changes to it to make it look like the Tremors Jeep, of course, but I'm sure some of you talented model builders could pull it off. These are on the current retail market for around the $35 mark, and I will put a link in the description for those interested. Or maybe it would just be easier going the 3D model printing route, as there are some good 3D models of the proper thrift side Gladiator available as well. By the way, folks, I recently started a new and also film-related and similar format YouTube channel called Mind Litter. If anyone is interested in hearing more about our favorite movies and TV shows beyond just the cars, such as other behind-the-scenes info, filming locations, and actor-related tidbits and such, I will put a link in the description below for those interested in checking it out. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw here. You guys are all great. See you next time.